welcome to the 7A11D International Festival of Performance Art. My name is Francisco Fernando Granados, and I am a proud member of the 7A11D Performance Art Collective. We are here for our first in a series of Performance Art Daily Talks that will be happening both here and at OCAD University. You can check out our website and our catalog for all the information on the series of Performance Art Daily Talks. We began last night with some wonderful evening performances at Geary Lane that will be continuing throughout the next 2 weeks, all the way to the 22nd. So we also invite you to check out our website and see who will be performing. This afternoon, we will have a conversation on parasites of performance by Sumurad and Bartolomé Ferrando. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that this land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the New Credit. This territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. Now that we've acknowledged the territory, I would like to welcome both of our speakers today. The way this will go is each of them will make a presentation which will be around 15 to 20 minutes. Then the three of us will come back up here and have another 30 to 40 minutes of conversation, and then we will open it up to audience. Everybody who's at the back, since this seems to be who we are for now, if you want to come closer, that's also like not a bad thing. Get cozy, come on.
So our artists don't lose their voice by the end of the festival.
Come on.
Yelling.
Don't be shy. By way of introductions, I will quickly read our artists' bios. Spending much of her time on the quiet side of the spectrum, Sumurad develops a sensory language with common objects to express herself and converse with others. This intuitive philosophical exploration feeds her interdisciplinary practice of performance, installation, sculpture, collage, and film. And I would also like to acknowledge Vera Koshikina, who is Sue's collaborator, who she will be performing with next Friday. And Bartolomé Ferrando is a performance artist, visual poet based in Valencia, Spain. He teaches intermedia and performance at the Universidad de Valencia. Ferrando is a member of various improvised music and voice groups, including Flatus Boxis Trio, Taller de Música Mundana Rojo, and GOP, or JOP. His performance work has been presented across Europe and in Argentina, Canada, Chile, China, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Israel, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Singapore, the United States, and Vietnam. So let's please welcome first Sumurad, then Bartolomé Ferrando.
Hello, everyone. Today, I am delighted to be able to share with you some of my thoughts around documentation and performance. I'll be sharing from my notes as well as some short clips. I make two types of performance films. The first is your standard gig. An artist needs a live work filmed for archival or promotional purposes, inviting me to film, minimally edit, and hand off to them. The film acts as a framed wide-angle mirror and is beneficial for record, critique, an archive like this. This is at least how I think of the more straightforward recordings of my own time-based performance and installation work. Sometimes the camera is welcome during the piece, and other times it's not. And the work either gets recorded before or after an audience, or I decide there's no need for record of it. The second type of film is my response to the live work an artist has made, and my experience of their piece, of them, and of their greater body of work as context. My approach to filming then shifts from highlighting something that is happening now and will soon be past, to a visual language that says, this now. The medium of film can offer a type of reflected eternal present, an opening into a second reality and a second time. I also make films for my own performance work in this way. My interest in making these types of films comes from, one, my pleasure in making and watching ephemeral work. Two, my challenge with documenting my work, and thus looking for alternatives. And three, my constant desire to hone in on a subject and reorganize and recontextualize it. The projects I'll reference today were all initially conceived and performed as live works that then, through our conversations and invitation into collaboration, became works of film. Each film is then a work from a work. Two expressed visual languages. Theirs first, then mine, one through the other. No money exchanges hands, and we share ownership of the final film. One of the creative challenges in my most recent film, titled A Visitor's Guide to Spectacle Island, with Maria Molteni and Hermione Springs, was how to document a work that was, on the one hand, mythic and imaginative, and on the other, full of encyclopedic information. And this is an example of, so their performance was a day-long performance on an island, Boston Harbor Island, and you'd arrive off the boat, and you were handed this broadside that had all of their ideas that are in their performance. The island is called Spectacle Island. It used to be shaped like a pair of spectacles, but because of trash and the big dig in Boston dumping all their dirt here, it now looks like an ear. And so their performance dealt with vertigo, stabilizing yourself, healing yourself from vertigo. They became these sirens. They're referencing blackbirds. I mean, there's all kinds of information. There's definitions on here, there's quotes. And you got this as a viewer, and you just went off into the island to find them. Maybe you'd see a glimpse of them somewhere. And so Maria approached me and asked me if I'd be interested. She had seen one of my earlier films, and she thought this might be a perfect project to invite me alongside to film them. So ultimately, I found myself exploring what my camera was capable of as much as I explored what their actions were as I followed them around. This is like a 2.5-minute clip from the film.
Iron-rich foods, kale chips, black beans, dried peaches, raisins, corn and wheat, corn tortillas, strawberry, lemon and ginger. There is a vagueness, remoteness, and restraint about the sirens, which permits of multifarious interpretations and constitutes the charm of so many of these Hellenic conceptions. They are not the product of one mind, but a complex, many-faceted growth which reflects the touches of various layers of culture superimposed upon one another, fair but elusive shapes.
When I make any kind of record of a piece, specifically when creating one of these collaborative films, I will inevitably be making a second work with a point of view. Because whether it's the visual framing of my camera, the playing with time, the experiments of what is possible with shooting and editing, these choices all shape the way a second wave of audience experiences the work. These decisions of how to carry a set of actions that are live into a new medium, a new body, distinctly separate from its original live experience, can be both benefit and detriment dependent. Observing my own process, I see that I'm clearly more creatively energized to document the piece than the performance. I want to get as close as I can to the content and the essence of the work and end up de-emphasizing that it was a performance with an audience. An example of this can be seen in the film Obscurus Affero, where I follow artists Bella Phelan, Alice Fogler, and Dirk Adams in a live action taking place at the Institute of Contemporary Art's Foster Prize exhibit. During the 6-hour durational piece, I found I consistently avoided any visual reference of the venue. Although the focus of the work's activity centered around honoring the Mexican folk legend Jesus Malverde, for me, the center of the experience was Bella, Alice, and Dirk, their shared quiet synergy, and their reverent attention through their expressed actions. As they attended Malverde, I attended them. feeling about Venue occurred when I was working with artist Samantha Fields, filming the work Meditations on the Tide, a durational piece on George's Island. I filmed on the beach for 2 days, observing her knitting as the tide came in, and then unknitting as the tide went out. The location was at first to be seen through long shots of the tide, paralleled in a split screen with Samantha knitting and then unknitting. However, while on the island, as my senses got accustomed to the place, the way our eyes do when entering a dark room, my camera soon turned to the rest of the landscape. The sky, the shadows, the visitors arriving and departing. So after we had satisfactorily captured a certain tide knitting moment, I'd just say, "So I'll be right back," and I'd head off to film the other happenings on the island. Initially unclear of what I was going to do with all of this footage that felt quite different than the initial plan, I sensed that I'd know once I began editing. I was a little nervous to show Sam, as this new footage was now about half the film. And yet I saw it effectively and even profoundly served her content and the spirit of her piece. The film is now populated with all the reality that is in motion and at rest on a summer's day on a Boston Harbor island, with Samantha and the tide steadily keeping and letting go of time. One of the authorship challenges in making these kinds of films is that the dual ownership can get lost when the films are sent out into the world. A recent example is when Samantha sent out Meditations to a gallery, and when press went out about the show, they had only included her name in the list of artists involved. When we wrote them to clearly say it's a collaborative project, they said okay through email, but not only never changed anything online or in print, but then when the film was looping in the gallery, they added a title page in the film itself with only her name. But I know why this happens, as many artists, myself included, make our own films. And so I understand how people can assume that the person in the film made the film. But in the world of documentary film, we rarely assume that the coal miner in a documentary film about coal mining made the film. But I know that the balance can shift when I send these films off to film festivals versus art spaces, that folks can think I had more creative control over the content since I am the filmmaker. So we continue to refine how to best describe and label this type of collaboration. And lastly, this process of making a work of film from a work of performance reminds me of C.S. Lewis in Perelandra when he writes, "And now, by a transition which he did not notice, it seemed that something that had began as speech was turned into something that can be remembered as sight, or into something that can be remembered only as if it were seeing." Thank you.
And for Bartolome's talk, I will be translating. Can we use your internet? Awesome, thank you so much. Alright, so we're just gonna pull up Bartolome's page.
Bartolome was starting his own unique language, which we heard yesterday.
Which he has notes of that I'm so jealous of. His notes are amazing.
16, perfecto.
Okay.
¿Hay video? Perfecto.
Okay. No, pero eso lo ponemos después.
¿Después? Perfecto.
Good evening, buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
En principio, el tema del que se iba a hablar es un poco la relación que se establece entre performance y áreas límites o otras artes.
So in a way to address the theme, which is the relationship between performance and its edges or adjacent areas.
En mi caso, esa relación está principalmente marcada por la relación entre la acción, la música y la poesía.
In my case, this relationship is primarily marked by the relationship between action, music, and poetry.
Sobre todo, partiría un poco del ejercicio de la poesía como punto de partida.
It departs from poetry as a practice.
Cuando estudiaba en Barcelona, me empecé a interesar por aquel tipo de escritura que estuviera construida en base a fragmentos.
When I was a student in Barcelona, I became interested in writing that was built upon fragments.
Uno de los textos que me interesó hace muchos años ya fue el escrito de André Breton, Pez soluble, del año 34.
I became very interested in a text by André Breton, which would translate as The Soluble Fish, from 1934.
Okay. Pero principalmente un poco estuve interesado cuando estudiaba tenía 22 años en Barcelona, una exposición de poesía concreta.
When I was 22 studying in Barcelona, there was an exhibition of concrete poetry.
La poesía concreta, como sabéis, un poco muestra fragmentos de discurso, condensaciones de lenguaje.
As you might know, concrete poetry makes visible fragments of language.
En condensaciones de lenguaje.
And condensations of language.
Yeah. Un poco a partir de esa idea de la condensación, de la rotura del discurso, me pareció fundamental empezar a trabajar en esa línea.
Departing from this sense of the condensation and the breaking of language, it became important to me to start working along these lines.
Yo estudiaba música, entonces, bueno, empecé a tocar música en la calle,
I studied music, so I began to play music on the street.
música free, música improvisada,
Improvised music.
pero con un cartel que decía no pido dinero.
But with a sign that said, I'm not asking for money.
And then, y entonces la gente tenía otra relación conmigo, me invitaba a cenar a su casa.
And so that changed people's relationship to me. I would get invited out for dinner.
Tuve amistades diversas, ¿no?
I made different kinds of friends.
Una de ellas fue un pintor con el que empecé a trabajar también en la calle, ¿verdad?
One of them was a painter with whom I began working with also on the street.
Él, mientras yo tocaba flauta travesera, y él pintaba, ¿no? En la calle.
He would play the transversal flute and the painter would paint.
Era el año 73, hace ya un poco de tiempo, ¿no?
It was 1973, which has been a while.
Bueno, lo que hago ahora está construido en base a esa base, ¿no?
What I do today is built upon that base.
En base a la noción de fragmento sonoro o poético.
Basing myself on the notion of the fragment, whether it is the sound-based fragment or the poetic fragment.
Leyendo los textos, por ejemplo, de Roland Barthes, defensor del fragmento, él decía, la importancia del fragmento estriba sobre todo en el silencio que acompaña los bordes del fragmento.
I might have to do a foltec, puede que te tenga, pero following up on Roland Barthes, who was the great defender of the fragment. ¿Y qué era lo que decía Roland Barthes?
Que lo importante del fragmento es el silencio que acompaña al borde del fragmento.
What's important about the fragment is the silence that lies just at the edge of the fragment.
Es decir, un poco el hueco, el vacío, ¿verdad?
The hole, the emptiness, so to speak.
Nuestra vida está compuesta formalmente de discontinuidades, probablemente.
Our life is composed of discontinuities, most likely.
Es decir, nuestro pensamiento es fragmentario.
Our thinking is fragmentary.
Nuestra propia experiencia acaba en un momento dado y empiezas otra cosa que no tiene nada que ver con la primera.
Our experience ends and then begins in a completely different place, and they have nothing to do with one another.
Esa relación entre el fragmento y la experiencia también me interesó mucho, ¿verdad?
This relationship between fragment and experience became very interesting to me.
Lo que yo hago ahora en poesía, continuación de la poesía sonora, está basado justamente en esa noción de fragmento, decía antes.
What I do now in terms of the sound poetry is based on this notion of the fragment, as I was saying before.
Pero también, paralelamente, podría hablar de la noción de ritmo.
But also as a parallel, the notion of rhythm.
Un filósofo teórico del arte, John Dewey, influyente en las ideas de Cage, él decía que el ritmo era necesario en la medida en que el ritmo del personaje que crea estuviera en relación con la naturaleza.
John Dewey, who was a philosopher who talked a lot about Cage, said that rhythm, ¿y qué fue lo que decía el ritmo?
Lo que decía Dewey es que es importante que el trabajo artístico rítmico esté en relación en contacto con el ritmo de la naturaleza.
That it's important that artistic work that is based on rhythm is attuned to the rhythms of nature.
De esa forma, el propio ritmo estaría ligado de nuevo a la experiencia propia del sujeto.
In that way, rhythm will be related directly to the experience of the subject themselves.
Ese ritmo me parece también importante como un segundo factor en la práctica de lo que yo hago en este momento.
That rhythm, that sense of rhythm is also important as a factor in terms of what my practice is these days.
Pero habría otros factores. Estoy hablando un poco de la práctica actual, el fragmento, el ritmo, También, en cierto modo, el ejercicio permutacional que me parece importante.
There are certainly other factors in terms of what my work is like now. This is very important, but there is also the idea of permutation, which is quite important.
Uno de los principales poetas influyentes fue Brian Gysin, probablemente, con este poema I Am That I Am. ¿Conocéis?
One of the important poets from this movement is Brian Gysin.
Brian Gysin.
With his poem I Am, I Am.
I Am That I Am. Y yo incluí este tercer elemento, el ejercicio permutacional en algunas formas de hacer de la poesía sonora que hago.
And I included this element, the permutational exercise, in some of the sound poetry that I practice.
Pero habría otros factores más, el ejercicio de la repetición, la inclusión de la repetición en la oralidad, en el ejercicio de la oralidad poética.
Among other factors, the role of repetition in the performance of orality.
La repetición construye circularidades de tiempo, construye territorios digamos, donde uno empieza y vuelve a enganchar el mismo punto de partida.
Repetition creates circularities of time, points of departure and arrival that loop.
En cierto modo, construye un fragmento de nuevo el ejercicio de la repetición.
In a way, it constructs a fragment in itself, the exercise of repetition.
Cuando uno repite muchas veces alguna cosa, genera un procedimiento de meditativo, en cierto modo.
When you repeat something over and over again, it generates an almost meditative process.
La palabra pierde el sentido mediante la repetición. Cuando tú repites muchas veces algo, la palabra pierde sentido.
Words lose their meaning as they are repeated.
Ese elemento repetitivo sería el cuarto elemento, pero habría dos más, un factor de lo aleatorio que me interesaba como manera de trabajar dentro de la práctica de esta poesía.
Repetition could be seen as the fourth element, but there's two more elements. Another element is the aleatory element, which is important.
El aleatorio fue construido fue teorizado por el músico Pierre Boulez y Cage un poco criticaba esa aleatoriedad en la medida en que decía lo aleatorio construye un territorio limitado.
This notion of the aleatory was mostly theorized by Pierre Boulez, and it was a notion that was in fact criticized by John Cage, who understood it to be limiting.
Yo empecé a interesar por la noción última de Cage sobre la indeterminación. El hecho, cuando algo es aleatorio, está basado en el uso de unos pocos elementos mezclados de forma desordenada.
On the other hand, I became interested in Cage's notion of indeterminacy, which it contrasts with the notion of the aleatory, because in the aleatory there are discrete elements that are at play with one another.
Pero cuando trabajamos con lo indeterminado, estamos abriendo la perspectiva de construcción a cualquier elemento intermezclado entre sí, a cualquier elemento, es decir, a todos los elementos.
But in Cage's sense, it becomes an open system where indeterminacy takes in anything that might come into the work.
Yo empecé el ejercicio performativo de poesía sonora escribiendo inicialmente todas las palabras, todos los fragmentos que quería decir.
I began this exercise of sound-based poetry by writing out every single word, every single sound that I wanted to say.
Pero en un momento dado olvidé esa rigor escrito para meterme en una producción donde no sabía qué iba a hacer, donde nada estaba escrito como ayer.
Yet at a given point, I let go of that, and I got into a place where the process itself guided the action.
Y lo empecé a hacer basándome en la escritura gestual, en mi propia escritura gestual.
And I began this by basing myself on my own gestural writing.
En antropología se decía los inicios del lenguaje estaban basados principalmente en el grito y en el gesto. Los primeros primitivos lenguajes no codificados tenían un origen en el grito y en el gesto.
In anthropology, it is believed that it is the scream and the gesture that becomes the basis of language. So early in the development of language, it is the scream and the gesture that becomes the building blocks of what we call language.
Yo lo que he hecho es para salir de esa escritura acabada, dibujar mi gesto e intentar leer mi gesto.
In order to get out of that, the approach becomes drawing the gesture and then attempting to read the abstract gesture.
Y ahora acabo de escribir mi gesto sobre un papel y puedo leer ese gesto.
Just now, I have written my gesture on a piece of paper, and I am able to read that gesture.
Bueno, es una pequeña muestra de la escritura.
Just a small sample of the writing.
Que acabo de hacer ahora. Entonces he empezado a leer las líneas gestuales para romper un poco la rigor de la escritura. Claro, es muy abierto.
It's a very open process, so it is a process of interpreting the abstractness of the line into sound.
Pero al principio tenía mucho miedo.
To begin, I was very scared. I was afraid.
No sabía cómo hacer, ¿no? Y estos factores, todos estos elementos, son los que me dirigen, en cierto modo, hacia una performance sonora, hacia una performance ligada al sonido y una performance ligada al gesto y al ritmo.
I didn't necessarily how to go about it, but eventually these factors, the combination of these factors, was what led me to a performance practice based on sound and based on gesture.
Yo no sé si tenemos tiempo para ver algo.
If we have time, which I do believe we do, we can show some documentation. If I figure out how... Is this how...
¿Se fue?
There we go.
Okay.
Regresó. Perfecto.
Esta sería una de las piezas de ayer.
This is one of the pieces like the one yesterday.
Podemos ver esto o podemos ver la continuación de esto tal vez.
We can watch this or we can watch the continuation of this.
How much time we
What are
have?
we doing for time? I think another 5 minutes.
¿Ah?
Manda? Yeah, we'll want more time to take. So, unos 2-3 minutos.
Ok, entonces ponemos después de la... Eso mismo, pero a la mitad.
Ya, perfecto. Por aquí.
Bueno, es...
¿Un poco pausa? Un poco, no.
Yes.
This is on his website?
Yes.
Yes, so this is in Bartolome's website.
No es muy ortodoxo el músico, pero es lo que a mí me gusta.
He's not a very orthodox musician, but it's what I like. ¿Quién es el músico?
Es músico Struna y ahora toco con él un poco escuchando, siempre a partir de la escucha del otro, ¿no?
His name is Struna, and their collaboration is based on listening, the parts from Space of Listening.
Yeah, maybe it's the time, no?
Thank you. So, you want to come up? So we've got about around 40 minutes till the end of the talk. I will perhaps just pose one or two questions, and then I'm sure you all have questions. So we'll open it up as a discussion fairly quickly. But one of the things that struck me as I was watching your presentations back to back was the notion of collaboration, and a little bit to pick up from what you said, Bartolome, around a collaboration based on listening. That made me begin to think about what you do, Sue, as a collaboration based on observation. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if you could say something around that. ¿Lo puedo decir en español si quieres?
Sí, también.
Que una de las cosas que me di cuenta al ver las presentaciones de los dos, una después de la otra, es un poco lo que dijiste tú al final, que es una colaboración basada en la escucha. Y eso me hizo pensar que me hizo darme cuenta que lo que está pasando, por ejemplo, en la obra de Sue es una colaboración basada en la observación. Si pueden hablar un poco acerca de la colaboración, la observación, la escucha y cómo se negocia la colaboración dentro del contexto de la práctica.
Sure. My approach when I'm with a performer, live action piece, is to be very quietly observing. I'm never talking really at all with the artist. It's pure observation. And I've asked them ahead of time, how close can I get to you? Is this during the actual performance, or is this, am I filming before an event? So I try to get as much information that I need. And like with Bella and Alice's piece in the gallery, he said, come as close to me as you want. So I just make sure he's always in black. So just wearing black, and there were times I'm in the performance with him, I'm just this close to him. But I'm taking on, I'm getting the quality of I'm trying to inhale the kind of performance that they're creating and take that on myself, and not be outside of it, but be in it with them. And it's very intuitive. I'm not at all thinking why or what. It's really just observing and oh, I love it when he did that, when he's doing that, so I'm going to just crop the arm and not worry that I'm not getting the whole body, or I really just, it's a very intuitive process, and it involves trust, right? When we're collaborating, they have to trust me to be in their piece, they're trusting me with something that is so close to them. So I feel like trust is important, and that my process is very intuitive.
Bueno, en mi caso, el ejercicio de la colaboración ya se daba con este pintor en el año 73. Con este pintor que tocaba flauta, él pintaba.
In my case, collaboration really goes back all the way to 1973 when I collaborated, with him painting and me performing on the street.
El segundo ejercicio de colaboración se dio con Flatus Vocis Trio.
The second exercise of collaboration was given with what happened with Flatus Vocis Trio.
Es un grupo con 3 personas, cada cual articulaba un discurso.
Is a group with 3 people, and each person would articulate a discourse.
Yo trabajaba más con el fragmento, los demás eran menos fragmentarios.
I worked with the fragment a little bit more, but the other 2 members were less fragmentary. They approached things with the fragment less.
esa relación se trabajaba muchas horas. Una idea se trabajaba todo el día, a veces 12 horas, 13 horas, hasta repetir.
In that collaboration, ideas could be worked for hours on end, sometimes up to 12 hours, you know, and repeating quite a bit.
Llega un punto en que parece que esa repetición se hace espontánea.
And there would be a moment where the repetition would in fact become spontaneous.
Pero solo aparentemente.
But only apparently.
Normalmente se produce un ejercicio de conocer cuando tú haces algo, yo tengo que hacer algo y aparentemente parece improvisado.
But in fact, what begins to happen is cues get given of each other, and so one person will know, okay, when you go like this, I'll go like that.
Pero era muy estructurado. Yo preferí otro tipo de práctica. Tuve un trabajo después con unos músicos suizos que hacían free jazz y yo hacía performance.
There was a third collaboration with a group of Swiss musicians where they would do free jazz and I would do performance.
Pero en ese caso tampoco era interesante esa colaboración porque había una estructura en performance y una no estructura en los músicos.
But in that case, it became also uninteresting to me because there was a structure in the performance and no structure in the musicians.
Cuando hay una estructura y una no estructura juntas, se produce un dominio, una dirección de la estructura sobre la no estructura.
When there is a structure coming together with a non-structure, structure comes to dominate the non-structure.
Preferí trabajar después con otros músicos de free, pero yo también sin estructura.
And so I went on to work with other free jazz musicians, but I got rid of my structure.
Como esto que hemos visto con este músico, donde no había nada preparado.
Much like what we've seen with this musician, where there was nothing prepared in advance.
Esa relación de doble improvisación es lo que me parecía interesante.
This relationship of double improvisation is what's become interesting to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So just to put, when he says structure, does he mean he came with, okay, I'm going to do this action for a second? Is that what he means by structure?
¿A qué te refieres a la estructura? ¿Con que sabías exactamente qué acción ibas a hacer?
Sí, no solo. Cuando uno hace una performance, normalmente hay una estructura, hay un orden interno. Igual ayer yo tenía una estructura y una parte abierta con la voz, pero había una estructura.
Not only, but you know, when you do a performance, you have a kind of structure, but then in a piece like yesterday, there was places of structure and then places that would free up for improvisation.
Con el músico no hay nada.
With the musician, there is nothing. So empiezas de cero.
Cero.
You start from scratch. Can I just follow up with a question around something that you mentioned, Bartolomé, this idea of an aleatory system versus an indeterminate system, and in a way, I think one of the things that makes performance interesting to me as a way of working is that there is always an element of the incalculable, even if, and it's really the sort of the fundamental sort of feature of performance, that there is always, large or small, visible and invisible, there is always an incalculability to making a work live. And I think a lot of what the work that becomes parallel to performance or that emerges from the performance becomes a way of sort of preserving something of it. So I was wondering if you can sort of speak a little bit to that. Una de las cosas que para seguir un poco con lo que dijiste de lo aleatorio contra lo indeterminado, es que lo que pasa con la acción es que la acción siempre está abierta a lo incalculable, sea visible o invisible, sea grande o pequeño, pero una de las cosas que pasan al traducirse de la acción como medio, ya sea al filme o a la publicación o algunas de tus instalaciones, por ejemplo como el silencio de vidrio, que algo se gana y algo se pierde. You know, something is gained and something is lost in the translation. So I'm wondering if you could say something around translation and negotiating translation. Negociar la traducción de la acción a otro, al otro medio.
¿Cómo lo haces? ¿Cómo? La pregunta es...
¿Qué se pierde y qué se gana y cómo lo manejas?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, with performance, we know that we're all witnessing something very special. It's in time. Anything could happen at any moment, like what you're saying, who knows, to affect a live piece. And so translating something that's live into something that is a film, that jump is where I was always feeling very frustrated, because when you watch a film of a performance that's sort of an unedited, you know, just sort of watching it, we lose the air. There's no air. And so that was always I just never wanted to watch any of my performances ever. And then what to do though, because these pieces are worth sharing beyond that moment. And so that's where I realized I really love to look through a lens, and I love I'm an undivided attention person. I like to just give you all of my attention if I'm talking to you. So it just suited me to just put a camera in the middle. Yeah. You know, that I love gazing, you know. So I decided to try this out and see what it's like to kind of gaze at a performance and gaze at, as I mentioned in my talk, at the piece, not necessarily as a performance, but what are the ideas in this piece? How can I like fan this and bring air back into it by honoring what film can do in the art form of film.
Cuando escribes una partitura así, pierdes las palabras, ¿no?
When you write a score like this, you lose the words.
Pero te aproximas al dibujo, ¿no?
But you approximate drawing.
Te aproximas al gesto también, ¿no?
You approximate gesture, right?
Sales de una manera de articular una práctica artística con el lenguaje.
You exit a way of articulating an artistic practice through language.
Para abrirte a una escritura basada en el gesto y basada en el dibujo.
To open yourself up to, having a structure that is based on gesture and drawing.
Esa apertura es lo que siempre me interesó desde tiempo atrás. Siempre he tenido admiración por los dibujos de Michaud, Henri Michaud, los dibujos gestuales y los homúnculos de Michaud.
I have always been interested in this process of opening up. As an example, the drawings of Henri Michaud. ¿Qué es un homúnculo?
Un homúnculo es un personajillo que se mueve y mueve los brazos así solo.
And his drawings that were like these little personages, this sort of like jerky moving personages.
Había en este caso una traslación de la escritura al dibujo que me influye para hacer este tipo de prácticas.
There was in this question, in this work, a translation, into drawing that is influential to me.
Y también cuando trabajas con otra persona, cuando hay una estructura, decía antes, domina a la no estructura.
And as I was saying before, when you work with another person and there is a structural approach versus a non-structural approach, structure will always dominate.
Pero cuando no hay estructura, entonces lo que uno hace y lo que otro hace se multiplica.
But when there is no structure, what each person does multiplies itself.
Y eso me parece fascinante, ¿no? Porque lo que tú haces ya no es solo lo que tú haces.
And that's what's fascinating to me, because what you're doing is not just simply what you're doing.
El otro responde a lo que tú haces y te aporta algo que tú no sabes.
The other one responds to what you're doing and it adds something that you cannot know. Lo incalculable.
Sí,
The
y
incalculable.
te sitúa en un espacio que desconoces dónde estás.
And you enter a space, you enter the space of the unknown.
Y respondes con otra cosa que no sabes qué vas a hacer.
And you respond with the unknown.
Te metes en una experiencia desconocida y eso es lo interesante.
You enter an unknown experience, and this is what is interesting.
Yeah.
Shall we open it up to people's comments or questions? Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
anybody has something, anything, Johanna.
I have many questions, but thank you both for this really fascinating territory that we're in, all three of you. I want to try to think about this process of fixing the aleatory, the indeterminate, and the improvisational, and when it becomes fixed, as in film or as in the solo performances that you did last night. You've done them before, you're working with a score, and yet you can see from the YouTube, there's a certain point where they're fixed. So maintaining the openness within that fixed overall structure, I'm very curious about what kind of play you give yourself, Bartolome. And then I'm loving this idea of the fragment, and which to me calls up the editing process.
Yes.
So I guess I want to talk a little bit about editing, maybe to both of you.
¿Quieres que te
Sí, por
traduzca?
favor,
Sí.
sí.
Que lo que le interesa a Johanna es la relación, esta relación entre lo aleatorio y lo incalculable hasta cierto punto, y cómo, por ejemplo, como en el performance de ayer, donde habían porciones estructuradas y porciones abiertas, cómo el proceso de edición, casi como un concepto, se negocia entre lo indeterminado y lo que está estructurado. Obviamente en el caso de Sue, a través de lo fílmico, donde se edita literalmente, pero también en tu caso en cuanto a cómo se decide.
You want to begin? Okay. En el caso de ayer había claramente una estructura en las acciones,
In the case of yesterday, there was a very clear structure in the action.
pero había también una producción sonora abierta, mezclada con esa estructura.
But there was an open sound-based production sort of fused into it.
En este caso, la estructura, en cierto modo, determina la voz.
The structure determines the voice.
No se hace cualquier cosa sonora estirando un hilo, produces un hilo de voz o un hilo sonoro.
You don't create a sound-based structure by just kind of like following a very kind of almost like a string-like line. You have to produce it by modulating it.
Pero esa influencia o determinación de la estructura sobre el sonido deja un lado abierto.
But this, dímelo otra vez para cacharlo bien.
Esa determinación de la estructura sobre la voz deja una parte abierta.
The determination of the structure of the string on the voice leaves an open space.
Esa parte abierta es bastante grande. Tú puedes hacer un hilo de voz de muchas formas.
This open space is in fact quite flexible. You can create a string of voice, in many, many, many ways.
Pero hay una determinación de la estructura sobre la voz.
But there is a determination of the structure of the string, of the thread on the voice.
Ya, hay una determinación, sí.
Sure. So I come into a piece with each artist where they have determined the structure, the starting structure. With the Meditations on the Tide piece, the tide's going in and it's going out, and that's not something I'm going to change because that is the core essence of the piece. And so that I recognize is, okay, that's set. And then what Samantha's doing, she's building something and then unbuilding it. That I can't really change. So in that performance, those were my givens that really didn't need to change. It needed to be there. And then the editing came in with the fragments of pieces of the island, of the ship coming in. We have kids in there. It's an 11-minute piece. There's all kinds of things going on. Whereas with the other island piece, with Maria's, she had that big broadside, full of fragments, full of definitions and kind of whimsical quotes, and there wasn't a starting and an ending to walking around the island and finding any of these moments. So that piece was a hard one to structure because I had initially took, my first few months it was like in a completely different arrangement and it just wasn't working, and so I had to then really process how to restructure something that started with all fragments. It was just all fragments, ideas, and I had to come up with chapters and but again, following her, she had menu, on her thing there. She has all these movements you can do to overcome vertigo, so that becomes its own chapter. So I'm, again, very much wanting to get all that I need from the piece, following structure as needed.
So as a filmmaker, and as an editor, you improvise based on their structure.
Right.
Como cineasta, ella improvisa basada en la estructura del performance.
Paralelismo.
Parallelism. Parásito. Parasite. Any other? Yeah, Paul?
Yeah, so what I was really, we started off with this idea of parasites, things beside performance, but what I get from both of these talks are different ways that performance allows different kinds of being with. The way I see Sue's work is very much, it's like what happens to the work in the mind of the audience, where an artist has a story, but then when the audience takes that story, they build their own story from that story. And in a way, you reflect back the openness of that process rather than trying to, that kind of delineation you're saying when it's documentation, you're really trying to keep it within the parameters of, the frame that you believe we're supposed to have around where that story is going. But it never really does that in our own minds because we've got 100 other threads that are kind of like inserting themselves into that story, and in a way you give that to us in a way that now we can see what your story of their story is, which is really an interesting way of being with that's different, that performance allows. The work that Bartolome showed us, where he's collaborating with someone live, is a different kind of being with because it's immediately responsive in the sense of it's a conversation, as opposed to I've taken it away and digested it, now I have it. This is immediate. It's very, that pulls me to here, and you pull me to there, and it's so it's also a way of being with, but it's kind of a different, because of its immediacy and because of its immediate gestural quality. There's no question there. It's just I'm processing.
Yeah.
El comentario, ¿te lo traduzco?
Sí, por favor.
El comentario de Paul se refiere a que, bueno, cuando empezamos con la idea del panel, la idea era, bueno, lo que está paralelo al performance, pero lo que se ha dado cuenta viendo las dos presentaciones es que lo que demuestra son diferentes formas de estar con la obra. Entonces, en la obra de Su, lo que él observa es la manera en la que la audiencia construye su propia perspectiva y su propia visión del performance. Mientras que en tu presentación lo que ve, por ejemplo, con la colaboración con el músico es la manera en la que hay una estira y afloje, pero que es una inmediatez, que cambia con la mediación del video, en el caso de la obra de Su. Y es más que todo una observación.
Sí, la inmediatez.
Oh, no, go first.
El ejercicio de sonoro con el músico exige esa inmediatez. Es exactamente lo que dice el otro, lo que te invita a hacer algo distinto.
The exercise with the musician invites and requires and in fact demands a certain immediacy of response.
Si no escuchas, no funciona.
If you don't listen, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think each of the artists that observed the piece after I made it, because they, like Vela, Alice, and Dirk, and the piece in the darker room, like they didn't see it until I was completely done editing it. Whereas Sam, who was part of the Tide piece, she came in a few times, looked at it. In the other island piece, Maria saw it 2 or 3 times. I had her come in and make sounds. So she made a lot of made her own sounds, because I was needing like a texture of a little more abstract texture over it. But I say in the beginning of this collaboration that it's going to come through this Su. It's sort of like I'm going to take it and with Vela's piece, for me, as I mentioned, although they were kind of tending the saint, my experience of it was I was wanting to just, wow, they're doing this. Like, so I changed the title. His title for the performance was Obscurus Communio, which is Latin for obscure, and then like to bring to the mind, like so kind of like a remembering the saint. And then as I was like trying to get at the heart of, because a 6-hour performance, I edited it into 20 minutes. So like I'm editing so much out, and for me it was Obscurus of Pharaoh. Like it was all about their offering. And so anything that wasn't supporting this idea of offering was cut, because I had to, you have to understand again your point of view as a filmmaker.
Any other questions? Comments? ¿Algo más que,
10 minutes.
sí, algo más que quieran ofrecer? Anything else you'd like to say for conclusion? Thank you very much. Thank you. We would like to thank Sue and Bartolome. We would really like to thank the Theater Center for partnering with us in this series of talks. We would also like to highlight that Johannes Sitz is performing every morning throughout the festival.
Every day.
Every day. Isn't 10:30 in the morning? I guess, yeah. So you're 10:30 to what? 5 to 5. That's right. So that's right. You start in the morning. I thought you were done. Johannes is performing every day throughout the festival, and there will be a final performance next week on the 22nd, on the last day. Please check us out, 7a11d.ca. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. We are not that hard to find, so look us up. And thank you so much for coming. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Yeah.